And we're back, guys. And today we're going to look at Zellsis, another player that made it to the LAN in Iceland with version 1. And one of the reasons why I wanted to look at him was because he was really the first semi-pro player that talked up at all about the match fixing. Everybody kind of stayed very quiet about it. But, you know, he called out a bunch of players on stream, and I'll show you guys that clip.
Jordan, do you wanna say it? Who did it?
Do I want to say what, like
conclusive
Nerfed
proof.
and Calypso and
shit.
Rebirth Esports and...
My God.
What do you mean?
Wait, nerfed?
Yeah. He was
No.
part of that group.
Not my boy Jimmy, dude.
Yeah, he was part of that group.
I'll kill him, but don't do anything.
Had a
don't do anything,
Snapchat
I'll
group
kill him,
and
but
everything.
don't do-
They had a Snapchat group of people throwing
Yes.
matches?
Yes.
Dude, everyone knew.
Like, everyone knows this. Like,
Tagged mid.
I came in ranked shit and these
Wait,
people, like,
did you
talking
say
about it all the time.
Marved?
Calypso.
Did you say Marved,
Shanks,
Jordan?
Yeah, Marv.
Marved and Shanks threw
Yeah.
matches?
Dude,
Dude, I can't be saying this, man. I didn't know it was this deep.
Yeah, it was like 8 teams in MDL.
So, pretty funny call out, to be honest. He called it out on, that was Cooper streaming, and that was Zellsis in the background kind of mentioning all the names. So he said it was 8 teams in MDL, and I mean, I don't know if it's 5 like, are we assuming all 5 players on the 8 teams? Because 8 times 5 is 40 players, right? That is as close to systematic as you can get, really, for match fixing. So I decided to take a look at Zellsis' demo just because I wanted to, I don't know, maybe commend him for talking about that. It really isn't easy to call out your peers like that, especially with something as radioactive as match fixing. Check out his internal clock here, right? So he knew that terrorist was at the door, and then after the guy doesn't peek, after 4 or 5 seconds, he's like, okay, he's not coming from the door, so let's just look at hut. I'll play it again, you can kind of see. So they get the intel on the T there, on Steel, because Steel kills his teammate. Then he's like, okay, he should have peeked by now. And even if he did peek, he wouldn't be able to stop the defuse. So he just switches to door with his crosshairs. Really good. But the fact that not many semi-pro players called out their peers really doesn't surprise me. When you think of kind of similar situations, like think of baseball in the 90s, right? Like they were all doing steroids, or a ton of guys were doing steroids. You didn't hear a single player call out. This is a nice spray control, by the way. Not that easy to do. It gets out of control a little bit, but you can see he brings it back and he finishes off Leaf on the silo there. But in baseball, no players ever talked about others doing steroids because they didn't want to rock the boat. They didn't want to kind of go after their peers like that, And I think Zellsis is maybe the only guy that really publicly came out and called out other players. At least guys that were in the scene and semi-pro players, right? It's insane how fast Chaos get down here, by the way. Like, they did a vent drop, and Zellsis, Zellsis was running full speed the entire time, but the vent drop from Chaos was insanely fast. He gets stuck in this situation in lower where he loses a teammate. He doesn't have as good of coverage from Secret. So he knows they lost ramp control, and he doesn't have Secret control. So he's kind of got to push to get intel. And it looks like he's about to hit a good timing, and then he shoots that one bullet, right? It's like the oof bullet. As soon as I saw that, I'm like, I feel your pain, dude. That is such a CSGO thing to happen. This round, you can see he's going to position himself so he kind of gets a close angle when they're approaching the stairs here, right? So he doesn't actually want to peek all the way to the far hallway. He wants to catch him a little bit closer so he can take a good gunfight with the MP9. But Steel with this absolute scumbag boost, and it catches Zellsis totally off guard. And I'm like, man, what a Steel play. I've never seen that. And you can see they really wanted to set it up. So there was a molly that pushed them off that boost. And then there's going to be a smoke that comes later too. But you can see time and time again, they're trying to set up this boost. And they finally get it set up. And I'm trying to think, I don't know, maybe you guys have seen this before. Let me know. But I don't recall seeing people boost like this, and it basically worked perfectly. Vanity gets the kill on Zellsis. Now they have full lower control. Steel and Chaos did this vent drop a lot, actually. You're going to see Steel just whip in with the P250, no armor, by the way. And Steel somehow wins this total BS gunfight that it looked like Zellsis had him dead to rights, right? And then the next round, Zellsis gets the kill on Steel here, and he's going to peek Heaven. and he just gets clotheslined by Vanity. I'm thinking, man, this guy's luck is brutal, but he's basically exactly where Vanity would have set up his crosshair, right?
I'm gonna freak out, dude.
He's taking it a lot better than I would. Sounds like he's staying calm. All right, pistol round, second half, and they go for a secret play, 4 down secret, and then one guy kind of lurking upper. And they catch Jonji. You know, Jonji's got 1 HP. They catch him in vents, looking 2 different directions, and he still somehow gets a kill on Dazzle. Zellsis trades it out, and then they kind of slow down the round from there. But I wanted to talk about basically what, you know, them going into Iceland with version 1 kind of seems like they're the underdog team. A lot of people were saying maybe NA is the best region, and now it's a lot more cloudy. You know, we're seeing amazing players from Brazil, and we're seeing amazing players from Europe and stuff like that. So it's a lot more open-ended, and version 1 is the number 2 seed from NA, right? So Sentinels was obviously the number 1 seed, and since version 1 is the number 2 seed, they have to play in the round of 10. It's a kind of an awkward playoff bracket. It's a playoff bracket with 10 teams, so that's already kind of weird, but there is an upper and lower bracket, so it's double limb. Maybe a Swiss format would have been better, but they're limited in time on like how long they can actually be in Iceland and have this tournament. So regardless, anyways, they're playing in the round of 10 against Crazy Raccoons, a Japanese team, and I'm sure there's going to be a huge... Oh, that's Pain, by the way. He died right at the end of the round. This nade's actually really cool too. They use a nade to blow open the door, and then he throws his nade through there, and you can see how much damage it did to Jonji. But I was going to say, when they play Crazy Raccoons, it's going to be a very interesting meta or stylistic matchup, and it was always like that in CS too. Like, think of Tai Lu in CS. They were always so kind of weird to watch play. Like, they played the game really different just because their area was so separated from the rest of the world, and they just developed their own meta, or a totally different meta. And Crazy Raccoons is a Japanese team, and honestly, I can't remember any time we've seen many Japanese teams playing Counter-Strike. That was a tough peek, by the way. They had some nades that they maybe could have used to flush Vanity off that angle, but I actually like the initial dry peek. You know, like I've commented a lot. I like, you know, dry peek every once in a while, but after the first guy dies, I feel like, I don't know, just seeing the second guy die is kind of painful, right? You don't know if you have time to take out a nade necessarily to throw a flash and get him off that angle after the first guy dies, because he might wide swing on you. But just felt like seeing the second guy go down there, I was like, that hurts. He gets this. It looked like he was gonna have a great lurk too, and I think he headshotted Leaf through the glass, but it didn't kill him because it went, like, it lost damage when he went through the glass. I feel like I have to mention too his time on Cloud9, and this was in 2019, and he didn't have an amazing time. It was a pretty short stint on Cloud9. He did, you know, obviously it was a huge step up in competition for him, and Cloud9 was probably looking for lightning in a bottle, kind of like what they had with Stewie, right? Where they just pluck this young guy up and bring him to the big leagues, and it's really a sink or swim kind of situation. And Zellsis didn't do great, despite, you know, they were always, obviously the competition was way more difficult than playing in MDL. But he's still a young guy, and it leaves time to evolve, right? The experience of playing on Cloud9 against those top teams probably left a lasting impression for him. And this Steel, this play from Steel, as soon as I saw him, like, where the fuck did he come from? Like, what? Anyways, really cool play from Steel.
Dude, I know we were going all the way through. Holy.
Oh, we shouldn't have. I don't know. I went up to T roof and I saw the smokes coming in the air, so like I went to look for them, but they came in the lobby, and Dazzle just T boxes lost.
But I guess that with his time on Cloud9, really what I wanted to get at was, just because he didn't hit the ground running and he didn't turn into this superstar player like Stewie2K, doesn't mean that it was necessarily a swing and a miss. He still has time to evolve from that, and now obviously he's switched on to a new game and he's having a ton of success. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, you don't want to write off a guy just because he has, you know, one bad experience at the pro level. He was able to build himself back up. And okay, this round I had to replay from Leaf's perspective, because he was just blasting everybody with the AK here. And he's playing this angle, like they can't see him because he's further away from that angle than they are. So he's able to just kind of see the top of their heads. But I'll go to Cooper's point of view here, and Cooper can't even see his head. And he's getting headshot, right? So really cool angle from Leaf, and of course he's got to hit the shots for it as well. So that'll do it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. And if you did, leave a thumbs up. If you didn't, leave a thumbs down. And I'll catch you next time. Peace.